every Sunday we go to temple, and my husband, um, when he skips breakfast, kind of fasting, and I prepare some wholesome meal, and by 1 o'clock, so everybody sit together using banana leaf. So at that time, it we feel very good about it. We are not following so many things. The samas are so many things. So this gives us satisfaction. Going to temple. In temple, we buy pongal, sweet pongal for our kids. So in that way, they enjoy, and the atmosphere in the temple atmosphere. We don't teach them, about God and all. We just do it, take them to the temple. So this thing we are doing consistently, and we feel good doing about it.
So I'll talk about one professional habit and one personal habit.
Sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
true.
Personal habit is very similar to what Menakai shared. It's a recent habit that me and my wife have started developing, which is going to the temple on Saturday morning. And it didn't start out with that. With I mean, we realized there are some benefits that we didn't really were not looking for when we actually started it. It was kind of meant to be some sort of a vain doodle type of thing that we had to do. So we did. This temple this temple is Kumaran Kundram in Hastinapuram. So it's a short hill that you have to climb. And what I've realized is that I look forward to Saturday mornings to just spend time with Shobha. Nothing else. It's just a excuse to go to this, and then we on the way back
Mm.
we have tiffin at A to B in Krompet. So it's a nice,
Nice.
good 2 hours of time. It's good exercise. I cover some 3,000 steps when I go to the temple. There's a Murugan temple and there is a Vishnu, Perumal temple right opposite. And there's a ritual we do, right? We go to the same person, buy the flower, we do the same thing. It's very therapeutic in that sense.
It's Swami Malai Murugan there, right? I have
It's
gone.
Swami Malay Murugan, correct. Swami Malay Murugan. So it so happens that that's Vendadal we could do in the next temple in Jolinganallur, but we don't want to go there. We want to go to Hastinapuram. So it's a
Nice.
very nice thing. I look forward to it, and Shobha looks forward
Mm.
to it. It's good time. It's kind of like a date every week, sort of. But it's kind of this. We go, we do all these things, and it's good exercise. You have to climb some 100 steps. It combines a whole lot of things actually. So for me, and Shobha also likes it. We drive on a. I drive, and just the two of us. And it's a Saturday morning. It's good. Basically, there's no rush and all that stuff. So that's the personal habit that we've been doing it for the last 10 weeks now. Roughly, I think 10 weeks, give or take a few weeks. And we really want to do it every week. Um, so like I said, the interesting thing is we started for one thing, we are getting something else out of it. Um, the so that we do it, I do it together with Shobha. On the professional side, what I've realized is that one of the key things, and it's kind of a switch that I have made, and it kind of happened over a period of multiple years, is that previously when somebody tells me something, I will just work on the solution, or I will work with what I know, something like that. I'll jump into the solution, I will offer things, etc., etc. That used to be my default. Now I don't do that. My default has completely shifted. This is what I realized actually, is that it's kind of like a mental habit. Is that I often question the context of, I try to be very curious about the context. Where are they actually coming from and why are they asking for this stuff? Which means I always start with questions. which means my curiosity has gone up in a professional setting. Now, whether that happens in every setting, it's debatable, but because Shobha will be the first one to tell you that you have to be more curious about what I'm going through and all that stuff. But interestingly, in a professional context, when somebody tells me this, I don't jump into things. I'm very, very curious about, especially what Kumaran talks about, the intention. Why does this matter? What matters here really, right? And that question, that kind of thing is a default for me now. So I kind of see, it's to the extent that I can see patterns, whether somebody is talking about a solution, whether somebody is talking about a problem. My listening lenses have been sort of refined in that sense. And I find that surprising, because it's not like I set out to do it or anything like that. It just so happened through multiple years of practice of doing other things. And I find myself in a place where I can't help but go there, that sort of thing. So it's my default way of operating, where I need to know context. If I don't have context, now the problem is, if I don't have enough context, I cannot operate well. That was not the case before. No context, whatever you give me, I will operate. But now there has to be enough of understanding of context for me to feel like I'm actually meaningfully engaging and contributing. Otherwise, I get paralyzed now. This is the other sort of extreme. I mean, I just go with things, but then I always find myself, it's very, very useful to do that. So that's the other habit that's extremely proven helpful to me, right? To develop understanding of things, situations, to ask questions. Now, whether that is helping me solve the problem or not is different, but the stance that I've taken is, that's not how I used to be. When I go back and look at my years in the business, in Cognizant, that's now, a client says something, I'll go with some. So I was always interested in pitching. So in other words, I was always interested in my thing. Now the default is I'm interested in their thing and their world a lot. Because without that, because this need for, I really need to know what matters most here. Not the details, but the crux of it, I need to know. So that is a very, very helpful habit for me.
Getting up at 5 in the morning and go for a walk. Lot of my thoughts, I mean, like most of you, I think Sukumar, Anbu and all would be like around 6:37, you will find one message coming. Okay, that is usually what has happened during that walk. So it kind of relates to, I don't know, so one of you had sent it, right? Like some poet or somebody will go for a walk and how walking helps at the end. I don't remember that. But I've seen that it's extremely helpful for me because, and especially I think ஒரு என்விரான்மெண்டல் ஃபேக்டர்ஸ் ரைட். கார்த்தால 5 மணிக்கு ரோட்ல யாருமே இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. நான் நடு ரோட்ல கூட நடக்கலாம். ஐ எம் கிவன் த லிபர்ட்டி ஆஃப் பீங் ஆப்சென்ட் மைண்டட் அண்ட் வாக் ஃபுல்லி. Okay, so it's much easier to walk at 4:35 in the morning. So sometimes it will be running. இப்போ லேசா ஜாக் பண்றேன்னா ஜாக் பண்ணி முடிச்ச அப்புறம் திங்க் பண்ண ஆரம்பிப்பேன். Okay, and it's like fresh start to a dayங்கிறதுனால it helps. So getting up is a habit. The benefit is it's like a fresh start to thinking something. The mind is kind of very fresh. It's a lot more easier to cognitive engines are at fresh use பண்றதுக்கு. They are not polluted by the signals of the day. Anything later than that, வேக்கப் பண்ணாலே இங்கே இவங்க கூப்பிடுவாங்க, அங்க அப்படி கூப்பிடுவாங்க, இந்த பெல் அடிக்கும், இங்கே இதுவாகும், அங்க நாய் கொலிக்கும், பக்கத்துல இதுவா இருக்கும், something will be there. That noises come in very fast. But that 5 thing, and I think critical thing is walking. நான் ஜாக் பண்றப்ப கூட என்னால அது முடியாது. Because அந்த எனர்ஜி எல்லாம் ஜாகிங்க்கு போயிடும் அந்த இதுக்கு. Okay, only when I walk at a fairly fast pace கூட சொல்ல முடியாது. It's like strolling. ரைட். ஸ்ட்ரால் பேஸ் தான். ஜோம்பி ஆட்டம் டொப்பு டொப்பு டொப்புன்னு நடப்பேன். அது பாட்டுக்கு உடம்பு பாட்டுக்கு அங்க போயிட்டு இருக்கும். ஆக்சுவலா மூளை தான் வேலை செஞ்சுட்டு இருக்கும். உடம்பு அது பாட்டுக்கு ஏதோ போயிட்டு இருக்கும். ஜோம்பி வாக். ஸோ மை ஃப்ரெண்ட் கால்ஸ் இட் ஜோம்பி வாக். ஓகே, ஸோ I think that zombie walk, any other time of the day, it doesn't work. இப்போ அதே walk if I do in the 5 or 5:30, there's too much noise. காரு ஹார்ன் பார்க்ல நடந்தா இன்னும் நிறைய பேர் நடக்கிறாங்க. It's not calm, too much of noise, pollution, sound, all that is there. It doesn't really help. The other habit, if I have to say, is, so I'm not telling things which have become natural. So habit na, it's like ஒரு கன்சிஸ்டண்டா இப்போ இது பண்ணுவேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்ற மாதிரி பார்க்க போனா, I'm telling long years, right? Like more than 2-3 years that I'm considering. I'm not even considering the tech journaling which I've been doing for the past 4-5 months. ஏன்னா அதுதான் வந்து அது கன்சிஸ்டண்டா, ஐ மீன் லைக் இட் ஹேஸ் எ ட்ரிகர், ரைட்? வித்தின் த மார்னிங் திங் ஐ வில் டூ அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து இப்பதான் 3-4 months. இல்லாட்டி அது பாட்டுக்கு ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா நடக்கும். அது எப்ப நடக்கும், என்ன நடக்கும்னு எனக்கு தெரியாது. ஓகே, இட் இஸ், ஐ டோன்ட் நோ வாட் யூ கால் தட். யூ கேன் கால் இட் அ ஹேபிட் ஆர் வாட். ஐ டோன்ட் ஈவன் நோ வெதர் இட் fits into the category. It's something which I do consistently சொல்லலாம். ஹேபிட் அண்ட் தெரியாது. ஓகே, அது ஆனதுக்கான ஒரே ஒரு காரணம் ஐ வுட் சே இஸ், காலேஜில் கேம்பஸ் இன்டர்வியூ வேலை இல்லைங்கிறப்போ ஐ டிசைடட் எவ்ரி டே ஐ வில் லேர்ன் ஒன் திங் நியூ, சம்திங் இன்ஃபர்மேஷனல் டெக்னிக்கல் அந்த மாதிரி. ப்ரொஃபஷனலா வந்து இன்னொரு ஒரே ஒரு இது என்னன்னா, எவ்ரி ஆல்டர்னேட் சாட்டர்டே ஐ வில் டூ சாட்டர்டே ஆர்கிடெக்சர். That sometimes it gets missed, sometimes I do that. அதோட பெனிஃபிட் வந்து என்னன்னா, இட் ஸ்டில் ஹெல்ப்ஸ் மீ ஆக்டிவ்லி கீப் டச் வித் தி ஆர்கிடெக்சர் திங்கிங். ஆர்கிடெக்சர், I have to read something about that. It keeps me connected with that. Otherwise, considering the fact that I have stopped actively being an architect, in this 7 years I would have become obsolete actually. But that Saturday thing helps me in touch, talk about it, discuss with others who are there. They throw me some things. It helps me think about it. So I don't feel I have disconnected from enterprise architecture and problems, even though I haven't seen a real large IT architecture application in a long time.
I would call the most useful habit for me is reading books. Reading books in any form, like digital or physical copy or anything. It just started. I mean, when this the Sundoku increased, I just have taken it upon me to finish that. But I think that started into a kind of a cycle that I will. I mean, today. I read at least for 30 minutes before I go to sleep. Now, I mean that is in addition to all the things like the links that Sukumar sends, Kumaran posts, or Sanjay shares in this. All the sharings that happen. So that I read, but in addition to that, there is a conscious reading habit that I have built. For now, I think it is 30 minutes. I think sometimes like what happens is at 10:30 I go to bed, by 11 I sleep. But that 30 to 35 minutes of reading, that is one habit that I will say that is very, very useful. And it was a struggle in the beginning because with reading, right? I mean, you will get bored, or after like 2 or 3 pages itself, you'll just start saying, "What is this? I'm not able to understand," because it's anyway at the end of the day, right? So so I read about this choice architecture concept also, right? So where you create an environment to enable you to do that or continue the habit. So I keep like at least 2-3 different books of different. I mean, not novels and all, but definitely on different topics. So something like it's sleep-inducing pages one to the winner, then I just switch to some other book and I just pick it up and then read from other books. So that is kind of helping a lot, because when you sleep, I think the concepts you would have read, they probably are working in the background, or the subconscious is trying to connect some things. Maybe in the morning when I get up, and many time I get a lot of ideas. the moment I get up, but I don't jot them down. That's another habit that I have to pick up. Like the moment it comes to me, then I say, okay, I will, I remember it, I will note it down later. But that's not happening now. So I just build another habit for noting down those ideas. So that's my habit.
So I have a lot of habits. I was wondering what I need to talk about, but I learned something interesting about habits that I could talk about. See, Kumaran keeps saying about feelings, right? I am not that much in touch with my feelings, at least compared to what Kumaran says. Now, this gratitude thing, I always used to wonder, hey, this being grateful has been there in the world for millennia. Every religion says, be grateful to God before you eat your lunch, whatever. And I think I would have done it many times also. But I don't. So, what I found when we are very specific about gratitude to specific people, I have now started actually feeling grateful. What started with I'm grateful to X. I think that I don't know why it is true, why this happens compared to generic versus specific. We can say being specific is what creates the thing. I don't know that is sufficient explanation for it. Now I started doing that with prayer also. So I started praying for specific named individuals whose health I would like to improve. Now what I found, and I do that every day, right? Somebody says I am sick, somebody is sick, I take their name and I add them to my prayer list and tell their name and pray for it. Now I can get that prayer. If there is a feeling for prayer, I started to experience that. So it appears, and it may be counterintuitive, because we think that when you're doing habit, like Kumaran was saying, zombie walk. You tend to think that when you're doing habit, you are like an automaton. Whereas what I'm experiencing with gratitude and prayer is actually evoking the correct feeling that probably I never experienced before. Yeah, I would feel grateful, but the feeling, the actual feeling of gratitude and what is the actual feeling of prayer, I am starting to understand. And I don't know how I can even explain this. Just I know I can see that there is a feeling. There is some thing happening in my brain that I can see. And I do this habit every day. That's